Well, we try to do that as far as like with this show. Like, we wanted a lot of stuff that reminded us of our childhoods, but also we wanted to relate to people who are older and younger than us. So, from anything to like, you know, candy, popsicles, stuff like that, that kind of, you know, bridges the gap between different ages. You know, we wanted to include that, but also stuff that meant more specific things that meant something to us too. So, what do you think?
Ditto. Really, we both, Aaron actually probably paints a little bit faster than I do, but the way we do it is, I was telling someone earlier, basically we build out all of our frames and like maybe we'll build 20 or 30 frames, and then we both will take imagery that we've collected to say, and we'll both start painting on this work, and some of them we'll collaborate on, some of them we'll do solo. And it all is determined by what each one of us has in mind. We'll start with a background, and then Aaron will be like, you know what, I have a vision for this. I'm going to do this one on my own. And I'll be like, all right, well, what about this big one? Why don't we collaborate on this one and do crazy stuff all over it? And it's kind of how it works. Her name is Diane Barber. She came from Diverse Works, and she helped us out with more or less keeping us on track and pushing us. It was funny we've never had someone say, well, why don't you try doing something a little bit different? And she kind of pushed us aesthetically anyways, or in the way that we would exhibit our work.
Yeah, initially our plan did not look like this at all. Like, the theme was there, but like as far as how the work's laid out, we had planned to sort of do like a grid system or something more traditional, but she kind of came along and kind of pushed us in that area to do something, you know, a little more out of the ordinary. So it turned out really good. It's kind of a good thing for us to work with someone like that.
Yeah. Actually, we probably would have only needed 3 months.
Yeah.
We were actually really behind on our deadlines initially because a lot of our process happens up here, and more of our work is developed in our heads before we ever lay anything down. So they kept visiting us throughout the year and like, hey, okay, what's going on in your mind? Why aren't you have anything started? And we're like, well, we're still thinking it out, you know? And so it wasn't until probably 2 months before the show that we actually really, like, full-time started painting and spending time on the painting process.
Yeah. I mean, we're both kind of used to, like, you know, cutting the deadlines close and like working up to the last minute. I mean, we've done shows where we would do an installation and like we were actually painting like 30 minutes before the show even started, and people are like, you know.
The paint is still wet on the wall, and people are coming in for the show, so it's you know.
So the year deadline was definitely something new for us, and
yeah, it was. It was like, it felt safe at first, but then it also was like, well, I have to prove to these people that I'm not just farting around. I really am thinking about it, and we're going to get our stuff done. So,
well, we wanted to really make the show more like interactive. I mean, we obviously had our limitations just because you're in this small area of a huge gallery, so we have like the Pac-Man machine and like the lockers and, you know, skateboard. But we had talked even more like going more big and like, you know, bringing in like an ice cream truck or just like more interactive elements that like, you know, reminded people of their childhood. But I mean, that's still stuff that we might try to do in the future with like the upcoming, because we're doing different galleries, but we really wanted to make it like a whole like environment sort of feeling. And I mean, I think we sort of pulled it off, but there's more stuff that we would like to do.
Yeah, that's the great thing about having multiple locations is we can improve between locations. We can be like, you know what, maybe aesthetically we add something else to the environment that makes it more interesting, that would tie into the work a little better. So okay.
Well, with this show we're gonna, I mean, like I said, try to mix it up. I mean, still keep the same feel, but also like, you know, make it different in a way. But as far as like other shows and like other things, each show is different for us, and it probably will have the same feel because it's us, but it'll also be different subject matter. So
yeah. With our next show, it's funny. A lot of it depends on time, funds, available funds, and gallery space. So, which we have some smaller shows scheduled that we'll probably do much more scaled down work for, but that's not to say that we wouldn't do more bigger work if we have some bigger shows coming up. So.
Okay. What kind of materials do you use?
We use pretty much anything. We can really get our hands on to, achieve the desired effect we're looking for, We both got started, painting a lot, doing murals with like spray paint and large scale stuff. So we incorporate that all the way to, house, latex, like acrylic, paper, everything.
Yeah,
really.
a lot of what we do originally started because it was a cheaper means of producing work. And then now we've gotten so comfortable and we know how to work with it, and we could go a lot, quite a ways with the materials that we have. So it's kind of like now we've gotten comfortable with latex paint and spray paint and paint markers and paper. And so it's not to say, though, that we wouldn't ever use oil or acrylics, but most of the time it's like, we could achieve it with latex. Why buy a whole thing of acrylic that would be twice as much, Yes.
Yeah, these paintings are all on plywood, but if someone, like you said, we try to do stuff like, cheap. So if someone donated to us a bunch of canvas, we
probably do stuff on canvas.
And your finish, is that a lacquer finish or?
Yeah.
It's actually an epoxy finish. We found out about a material that basically, with one coat, looks like it's 50 coats of lacquer, and it's expensive, but it really achieves a really nice look. So
It's probably the most expensive part of our paintings, is the coating. So
yeah.
we don't do it on all of them though, just like on, bigger stuff and depending on the show.
Well, it all starts with an idea, We come up with ideas all the time, and some of them work, some of them don't work. And with this show, the idea was childhood influences. So our subject matter was going to be elements from childhood, everything that we identified with childhood and other people would identify with childhood. So, and as we started painting, we noticed that we painted a lot more imagery that we related to, but not to say that we didn't cover some other bases as well. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. There you are.
thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.